This week's edition of the Bro Show Live. I'm Skillbo, back again with the whole panel. I want to toss it right over to Sequence so we can get down to introducing our special guest.
What's up, chat? We have 34 people watching already, which is really cool. I wanted to say we hit like 2.5 thousand views in the last episode, which was super, super crazy. Thank you to you guys in the chat. And thanks to that, we have cool guests now. So we have MI No-Till Guy, CannaKitten on here, ChefAnna, as you can see, Abolished Red, Spartan Eagle, and CannaKate as normal, all the faces you're used to seeing. So let's go around the panel and introduce everyone. We're going to start with Abolished Farms, and then we'll do the guests at the end. Thank you for joining us, guys.
What's going on, Groskies? Abolished Farms here. Find me all over the place. Joined with the beautiful Miss Cantaloupe. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. Glad to be here. Glad to see everyone. It's been kind of a rough week for me personally, so it feels good to get to relax and hang out with you guys and be here tonight.
We really appreciate you topping off your rough week by just spending time with us. Hopefully we can make that a little bit better.
Absolutely.
Red, you are up, my friend.
Well, what's going on tonight, everybody? I'm Red Setter Farm. You can find me on Instagram primarily or right here on YouTube. Just getting through this daylight savings day. Woke up kind of confused. I kind of forgot that this was going on. I thought it was an hour earlier than it was, and then I realized I had to switch over all my pump timers, my thermostat timers, and make sure I got everything going. So it was a good thing that I was out at the farm all day, and yeah, man, just having a great day. Hope everybody else is. Cheers, Groskies. Cheers, everybody tuning in. It's rock and roll night.
That's a good topic for us to talk about today, Red, is all your timers you had to change today. Thanks for bringing that up.
Had to make sure I went in every room and was diligent about it for sure.
I picture you as like the Mad Hatter doing it, dude.
Well, you know, my Nanolux, it's app-based. So once I log in, I've actually done that in between light cycles, and my light was like just turning on, and I walked in and I kind of turned on my app, and then it reprogrammed to like the daylight savings time, and the light just shut off on me because it went an hour back. And then the other one kicked back on and everything got real screwy. So I'm like, oh no, if I do this wrong, I might blow a light bulb. So yeah, you know, be diligent with it, I suppose.
That's really funny. Spartan, what's up, man? Coming hot off in another show. Here he is.
Yeah, just staying high on my own supply, man. I don't fucking change my timers. I let them do whatever the fuck they do. So I just try to take things easy at my where I grow. I don't like try to get too serious with it. So I just have to remember everything's an hour later now. So not a problem. I can change. It's easier for me to change than it is to change all the damn timers. And then you can find me on Instagram, Spartan Grown.
You can find Spartan everywhere these days. He's on the GML show sometimes. Shout out to those guys. He's on the Growing with My Fellow Growers show. Shout out to those guys. And he's here. Shout out to us. Most of all, of course.
Winning
Eagle, you're
2020.
New Gardens 1 on Instagram, YouTube, running late as hell tonight. Super glad to be here. I don't change my timers either. They fall in line with the need of the season. They fall back in the winter, so I should be in here earlier during winter because there's nothing else to do, and then they go on later in the spring, so I can be out during the day doing what I should be doing during the day. So it works out for me as well, Spartan. Pass it back over to you guys. Thank you for having me.
You guys got me feeling like the oddball out, so I guess I got to admit that I don't change my lights here at my at the personal grow because I agree. The only reason I do it out there is because that it's app-based and attached to my phone, so I'm kind of forced to doing it. So I guess it's one of the downsides, being able to Wi-Fi control your lights from anywhere in the world. But
what is cool to acknowledge, like the difficulty in changing a bunch of different timers and not forgetting one, you know, or that kind of thing. So it's a
especially water
good talk to have.
Stuff.
CannaKate, you are up.
You can find me on Instagram or here, and it's funny because I didn't even change my like fucking clocks from the last daylight savings time, so like they're finally right again, but like I definitely don't fucking change timers over. So I got in my car today and I was like, whoa, my times are right again. 6 months out of the year, baby.
That's that old VCR shit. Remember back in the day? I don't want to touch the VCR, man. I don't want to program this thing.
On returning guests, am I no-till guy and CannaKitten? Welcome to the show.
Hey,
Thank you.
thanks for having us back.
We missed you guys last week when we talked about hash the whole episode. But
I noticed we were watching. We were like, damn it, we should have been on this.
I was heavily in the chat. I was like, I can't resist.
Yeah, it was a good show, actually. It was
Yeah,
entertaining.
very
Yeah.
good.
And then ChefAnna, thank you, Chef, for joining us. How would you introduce yourself, Chef? Where can everyone find you?
ChefAnna with the pot. What's up? Appreciate y'all for having me here. ChefAnna with the pot on IG. ChefAnna TV, if that's easiest. Daylight savings time caught us slipping as well today too. I asked AP, shout out to AP, my wife. I'm like, how did we not know that? She was like, because we don't talk to anybody. I'm like, you're absolutely right. But we grow auto, so our lights stay on 24 hours in a 24-hour rotation, so we don't have to really worry about changing either. Shout out to the Auto Wave. Appreciate y'all for having me. Shout out to CannaKitten too, for plugging us up. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Shout out to Kate for getting Chef in here on the show. Really appreciate that. And yeah, you do grow autoflowers, so it's interesting to talk about the difference and how much you don't have to give a shit about the light cycle.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, that's really exactly why I grow them. I've been growing for about 4 years, and I was just really looking for a way to save money. I was spending my money on weed, being 100% honest. Just like a lot of people, you get paid, and you got to get that weed straight up. That it's a bill. So I'm like, you know what? I'm spending a lot of money, especially in where I was down in Atlanta, and from there, I was just looking for growing my own options, and came across autoflowers on the forum. Saw they didn't really need to, change the light cycle. You can run a couple different ones at different stages in the same area. So it really just sounded like for what I was looking for, the perfect fit. And, I started growing them, and I kind of stuck with them, man. They're kind of like my bread and butter. Those are my babies.
I was just gonna say, I think my first exposure or like my first notice of autoflowers was through you, Chef. So it's been cool to I don't know. I think that for a lot of people, you've been the person that gives, I don't want to say like notoriety or whatever, but just a little bit more credence to them. I think that before you, the only things I had heard about autoflowers were super negative. So I think being able to watch what you're doing with them is pretty cool, because it's different than what a lot of other people are doing with weed in general.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's the crazy thing about it, man. I didn't know anything about growing at all until that 4 years ago when I started growing. So I had no idea about the harsh negative connotations on autoflowers, to be 100% honest. So when I started doing the IG shit, and people would come make these comments like, "Oh, why you doing?" I'm like, "Yo, chill." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Chill.
relax, man.
Especially when I'm growing plants, when they done, I'm smoking them, I'm getting high. My friends is coming over. They're not saying, "Oh, is there something different about the wood?" You know what I mean? They smoking, they getting high. It smelled so I didn't get it, man. I personally don't really listen to people. That's never been the type of personality I have been. I kind of just do my thing. I'm not mad at anybody that does their thing. I've been smoking weed since I was 18. So I'm pretty sure everything has been photo period weed. I don't discriminate. I'll smoke whatever y'all got as long as it's good. So, but just for my personal lifestyle, for my growth style, you know what I mean? I'm a more of a set it and forget it. Less is more type of personality. So I needed something, just like that, just like the autos, a little bit more forgiving, a little bit easier, I guess, as you would say. And, it's been working out well. So I'm glad that other people can get exposed to it and realize that, that there are other options, especially if you're looking for something smaller, stealthier, things like that.
You got away with growing one on your desk for quite a while at work, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a true story too. A lot of people thought that was like a skit. That was a true story. It's a long story, but a true story. I did take one into my job at about 10 days old and grow it as long as possible. I was trying to be the first person to ever do a live harvest at their desk at work. Just didn't make
You got way closer than I thought you were gonna.
We did, but that was because of the situation. I worked at a place where a lot of people, again, they don't care about you. They don't come say good morning, that type of stuff. So, all right, I'm gonna just do what I want to do then. Y'all not gonna notice, you know what I'm saying? If I can do it, I can do it. So we got as far as we could. And then, that was the story of that.
So is it the smell that did you in, or did somebody rat you out or something?
Yeah, it was somebody. It was somebody.
Yeah.
It wasn't. Yeah,
Oh,
it was somebody.
So
which I understand. At the end of the day,
made it happen.
Yeah, I could have made it happen, but also I see both sides of it. At the end of the day, some people, like their jobs, work there for a long time, take it seriously. That might be a mockery of their job. So I totally get it, but I knew what, when I went into it, I knew what my options were. I knew what my consequences could potentially be. So I was just ready for whatever. So it just played out the way it was supposed to play out.
I like that, man. It's on its way to helping normalize the plant, though. I mean, you can put what's a typical thing to put on the plant? What's the Christmas plant, guys? Help me out. What's the big Christmas one that comes around? Starts with
poinsettia.
You guys, poinsettia. Thank you. Somebody help me out there for a second. Holy cow!
Yeah, partridge in a pear tree.
Partridge in a pear tree.
But that's the thing. I
song
mean,
straight.
that kind of was the whole point. Like the plant wasn't hurting anybody. It wasn't doing anything. It's not, it's a plant. So that kind of was the whole undertone of my meaning or my point in doing that anyway. Like if you can have a plant on your desk, I should be able to have a plant on mine. I'll take it home when it's time to smoke. But as a plant, it's just a plant. Let's stop tripping. It's 2020.
And they just fucked up the next staff party too, man. It was fitting to be lit over there.
Absolutely. It was. You feel me? Absolutely.
I thought it was really cool. I mean, you definitely got my attention when I saw the picture of a plant on a desk at somebody's work. I was like, hell yeah, I wish I had those balls. So good for you.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate you.
They were just talking about autos this week on the Frugal Force podcast. Red and Spartan Abolished, all those guys over there. And I don't know if they had anything that they wanted to ask or add to that conversation.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was just about to say. Sorry, I almost cut you off, man. I'm excited because it's getting so warm here in Michigan now. At least it was down in our area, and like I'm really excited for spring. And like the autoflower conversation from the Frugal Force chat show the other night just really had me I'm really ready to just start getting stuff in the ground. So, I'm excited to maybe even pop up some tarps or maybe some small hoop houses or whatever I got to do to start getting some stuff in the ground now, because I'm already itching to start getting my vegetables out there. So anything you got, any kind of advice you have for us first time auto growers, I'll gladly take it all.
Oh, to be honest, like I say, man, if you grow anything, it's not going to be any different. That's the more surprising thing from my perspective is the people that ask, like, what's some tips about growing autos? I'm like, if you grow in weed, you can grow. It's the same thing. It's just, long story short, it has a trait on the ruderalis trait that allows it to flower automatically without a change in light cycle. And that's because those plants are derivatives of regions that don't, might get more or less light during the year. Kind of like a life finds a way, Jurassic Park style thing, where cannabis will find a way no matter where it is on the planet. So breeders have taken that trait, bred them into, their favorite photoperiod strain to the point where they can get them to flower automatically without a change of light cycle. So for instance, I can grow a plant from seed to harvest without ever turning off the lights at all. Or I can do 12-12, or I can do 18 on, 20 on, whatever you want to do. It's still going to have a set life cycle. Other than that, I don't think it's any different than anything that you would grow. You're talking about growing fruits and vegetables, bro. You know what I'm saying? So like you got this. Like it's not nothing that you haven't done. You know what I'm saying? Like I guess the seedling stage, some people say is sensitive in comparison. I have never grown a photo. So some people say that seedling stage, I grow from seed. So I don't clone or anything like that. Though there are people out here cloning autos now. Shout out to CBDRE. I'm not sure if she's watching, but there are people that are cloning autos. I grow from seed. And once you can get it past 10 days, from seedling, it's off and running, just like any other plant. You know what I'm saying? As long as you're taking care of it, food, water, no matter what you decide to do, organic grow, liquid nutrient, dry nutrient, you know what I mean? It's the same. It's the same, just like growing any cannabis plant. That's my opinion. So, but if you ever have any, come across any issues, yeah, just always shoot me a message. I'll take a look at it and let you know. The big thing that I would say is a lot of people have all these misconceptions about it. You can overwater them. They're so sensitive. You can't trim them. You can do anything that you can do to any other plant with them. Feed them, trim them, all of that, and you're gonna get the most out of your autoflowers. You see, a lot of people have small plants, and they ask me, how do I get mine so big? I push a lot of water. I push a lot of nutrients. Check out my grow guide, Grow Like Chef. It's on Amazon. I put that out in 2018. And for the first 3 months that it was out, it was an Amazon bestseller, from the couch, from the basement. That shit was amazing. But all it was exactly what I'm doing from seed to harvest in my environment, the basement. And, that's helped a lot of people just, basically just pick up and move. Anybody that, doesn't have any experience like I did when I first started, that book is really a flash forward for you, where you can just pick up and start. Get your seeds, get your dirt, get your environment, pick up and start. It's nothing to be scared of. You know what I mean?
think it's really cool that you wrote your own book, just like, we started our own show kind of thing. Credit to all of us stoner, what would you say, go-getters, entrepreneurs, whatever you would say. Really
Absolutely,
cool.
absolutely.
Well,
No,
one
I
of the
admire that
things
about y'all.
we were trying to figure out last night was an actual procedure for outdoors here in Michigan, because the breeder or the auto specialist that we had on, he's from Colorado, and we know as like taking photo periods outdoors, we want a certain hardening off period, or let them get so big before we put them out, or they're just going to die. We can't throw just seeds out there or small clones. What procedure do you recommend for outdoors with autos here in Michigan?
So this is gonna be my first time ever growing autos outdoor this spring, and I'm gonna do exactly kind of like you said. You can't start with a seed out there. People have recommended me start them inside at about 30 days, 40 days, take them outside, let them finish, and shooting y'all straight. I'm a trial and error type of guy, so I don't know what's gonna happen. But what I'm gonna do is take a couple different stages, 30 days, 40 days, put them outside and let nature do nature. Let's just see what happens. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I've learned all the way to the point where I'm at right now, is to experience, is to do, is to create, is to put it out there. So but my recommendation would be to start them indoors. Once you get them at about 30 days, 40 days, when they get mature, switching over in the flowering, put them outside. If it's warm, if it's nice out there, you probably got more experience growing outdoors. I've never grown outdoors at all, so we about to find out. You know what I mean? I have plans this spring to put some outside, and we'll see what happens. But I'm really confident in just nature. You know what I mean? Like, I'm confident that if I put them outside, if they're mature, if the conditions outside are warm enough, and that other plants can survive, I think they'll be okay. It's gonna be a new venture for me. But yeah, I know a lot of people online on IG that grow outdoor with tremendous success. So I'm excited to kind of see how it works in this Michigan climate.
I put one outdoors last year, but it was really, really late in the year. Remember, abolished? It ended up being like a foot tall or whatever. So I can't really comment in that relation to putting one out early enough where it could actually cycle in a warm climate.
Yeah, we hope to get 2 rotations in, like you said, starting it a little early inside and then throwing it out right at the first day we can, chopping it in the 70 days, hopefully it's done, and then starting another one and getting the second harvest in before it gets too cold.
See what I think.
With running them inside and outside, you could probably do more than 2 cycles easy.
So what I've planned on doing was I was going to get fabric pots, and I was going to start them in fabric pots inside, and then when I go to take them outside, I can put that fabric pot right on the ground, and the roots will grow right into the ground. I don't have to actually transplant it. I could even dig it into the hole. I could dig a hole and put it in the hole if I wanted to, and the roots would grow out of it. But then, like you guys are saying, I'll just stagger my harvest. Maybe wait 2 weeks, maybe wait 3 weeks, plant another one inside, get it started, and when it's ready to go outside, put that sucker out there. That way I'll have like a staggered harvest all summer long. That's kind of the way I was going to go with it.
Yeah, it's gonna be sweet to see how those turn out, coming up with those different rotations and whatnot, and kind of like I said, this will be my first time venturing outdoors. I've just always grown indoors just because it's convenient. I can do it all year round, but why not? You know what I mean? Like, I'm up here now, it's legal in Michigan, as long as I'm following the laws. So I'm gonna try some outside. I'm gonna start them indoors, take them out when they're mature, and just kind of see what happens, kind of document it, just like everything I've learned so far, just kind of document it, so the next season, okay, I'm gonna try it this time, what I mean, until I figure out the sweet spot or whatever the case may be. But I feel like they'll do fine. I've seen people grow autos outdoor, and they do fine, just like anything else you can grow outdoor.
Yeah, that's how I learn everything, is that trial and error too. Sorry, go ahead, Spartan.
I was just going to say, I haven't grown an auto outdoor yet, but I've grown photos outdoor. And I can tell you the big difference between an indoor photo and an outdoor photo is just the amount of leaf that you get. Once you get outside, it's like the sun's so powerful, it's just throwing leaves everywhere. So I'm kind of expecting that autos are going to have to, I don't care what people say. Like you were saying earlier in the show, you're going to have to get in there and trim some leaves out, because I think they're going to probably just start shooting all kinds of leaves when you get them out in that full sun.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm gonna be out there training it and trimming it. Just because at the harvest, I don't like to have all of that bushy, leafy shit to go through personally. Sorry, stuff to go through. So, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna definitely be out there paying attention to them. It's not gonna be like a throw it outside and just let it. It's gonna be trained, low stress training. You know what I mean? It's gonna be, I'm gonna try to make the most out of it to get the best out of Mother Nature. But yeah, absolutely, I would definitely assume that some sort of trimming and pruning would be absolute must.
You can swear, Chef. It's okay.
Definitely top them. Top those plants. autos.
I just topped my auto with flour. Sad news. I had two purple. What were they called? Purple dragons. One I looked at it had some balls today, so I cut that fucker down. But the other one is a female for sure. She's got pistols, and so I topped her. So we'll see what happens. So far, seems to be just didn't even slow down.
I like a lot of what you were saying there, Chef. It seems like I might have a little bit of confidence, try to stick some of these out there in the early season. I'm going to experiment with a little, maybe a short tunnel or something, maybe some plastic and some PVC, see what I can do.
Man,
maybe if
have
they
a
don't
lot
start.
of bit. Have a
Go
lot
ahead.
of bit of confidence. Have a lot of bit of confidence. Like it's gonna do what it do. It's gonna grow. It's gonna
That's
do
what I
its thing.
mean.
and
Like
you-
you're saying that it's, I mean, the research that I've kind of done on ruderalis is, yeah, it's like a high mountain, cold weather type of, maybe not necessarily totally cold weather, like, Arctic cold weather, but yeah, like what are high mountains? I mean, they're short season, right? I'm thinking that we might do okay.
But Darren in the chat said he got 3 cycles in a year, and he agreed with Spartan that they were more leafy than normal, indoor plants.
Shout out to another Darren at D's Bags, but I was just talking to him or texting with him today, and he said he'd read in the Farmer's Almanac that this spring is supposedly going to be the earliest spring in like for the last 100 years. So yeah, if you want to get some early stuff in the ground, or you guys want to take the chance, I guess this year would be the year to get them in early.
Shoot for 4.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. What do you have to lose? It's just one plant, I guess. Whatever.
Set them up in waves. I mean,
how early would you put an auto outside?
Well, this is what I would do, man. Just put it in a pot, right? So if it's starting to get too cold, just bring that sucker back inside. Just use the outside until, just like what ChefAnna was saying, once you know that it's the temperatures are right, you can just leave it out there. But in the meantime, just stick it out there when you need to, you know what I mean? And then if you know it's going to get too cold, bring that right back inside.
Yeah, I think cannabis is so resilient. Like those plants that I had in my garden through the end of like November, after we had already gotten a couple decent snows, and they were still growing right along. The snow would melt off of it and it would be okay. Like, what snow? That wasn't anything. And then it eventually died, of course, but I've already had some sprouts popping up because of that seeded plant just sitting there. And I'd look down and on a nice day sitting out in the garden smoking. And actually, I think I got one posted on my Instagram. There's a little baby sprout. That might have even been about 3 or 4 weeks ago now. Maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago now. Yeah, we've had some nice weather here. Tell you what, it's kind of scary, but we get through it. Getting through it nicely. Maybe it'll bring on our early cannabis season, right?
Right. So check it out. Yesterday, I met up with Eagle Gardens. We were at Vehicle City, and we were talking about autoflowers, and we were talking about the cloning thing on it. And Eagle dropped a point in the conversation that I would love for him to mention right now, because I don't want to take any credit for anything on how to do this. Eagle, you want to take that for a minute?
Not really, because I already talked to them guys yesterday and chat about it. They were saying that re-vegging and taking clones out of after that fact wasn't really possible. But it sure would be, I would think that'd be the time you would be able to take them if you could get that auto to reverse, would be optimal point to take clones.
So how do they get around? I'll be the dumb guy in the panel. I don't care. So in years past, when they used to talk about taking clone off of an autoflower, they said it wasn't a matter of having a hard time to get it to root. In fact, what it was a hard time to try to keep it in a vegetative state and keep it from flipping over to flower. So I would love to know if anybody has any information on that they can dissuade me with.
But still a problem is that you can clone autos. A lot of people do clone autos, but the plants are never as big as the parent plants are because the cycle never really stops. So what happens is the plant, when it's in vegetative state, which like a seed, it doesn't get mature for like a month or so, and then it'll go into flower. Even if it was in 12-12, it wouldn't flip yet. So when you clone an auto, you get a little bit of time where it's going to veg while it's rooting and stuff, but it's going to flip right to flower as soon as it can. And then that's going to automatically stunt that plant more than the original one was. And that's what everyone runs into.
So could you almost think of it as the clone having the same lifespan as the mother that you took it from, and
Yeah, it's
having
on a
like
timer.
the same lifespan?
Well, it's like the
left?
lifespan minus all of the original veg time.
Right.
Well,
so
like,
so
for
it's like
example-
equal to the clone, maybe minus a week or two of stress.
Like, for example, the people that are really kind of nailing it down have gotten to the 3rd generation before they couldn't really clone anything anymore. They lose a little every time. So it's not like a photopure. You can just clone it every single time and you're good.
Right.
So
you really want to take a cut as early as possible. As soon as you can take a cut, you want to take that cut.
I think the same goes with like a lot of the, like a topping. That's probably done better when it's in its veg phase than it is, obviously in a flowering phase. So, it's kind of early on, not super early on, not when it's like this tall, but
Yeah, you'll stunt your original plant too, so you got to be careful of that.
Chef, have you found like an average date where the autoflowers typically begin to start their flowering cycle? Is it after like 25 or 30 days, or is it after like I suppose, I mean, if they're 100 days, and it's probably like a 30 to 40 day, right? Is there an average?
I'd say 25, 30 days. That's probably right around there.
Oh, yeah, yep, like that 25, 30. You know what I'm saying? 32, 33 at the latest, 34, 30, you know what I mean? But yeah, 25.
So you probably
30.
want to take that clone a week before that. Probably.
Even with the people that I see clone successfully, it would be like cutting off a branch and then just finishing that specific branch. You know what I mean? Like the plant doesn't then grow to be the same. Like, you know what I mean? So like I've seen people do it successfully where they get a good branch or whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? But so I personally don't think it's all about what your goals are for growing anyway. Like I don't know that autos are for that. They're not really designed to be cloned. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like a from seed kind of thing. But yeah, it's really just all about what your goals are. But I've seen people do it successfully. I've never personally tried it. I don't think I ever really will. You know what I mean? I haven't really seen the benefit of me putting that time and energy into cloning it and not getting, when I can just start a bunch of them from seed and get exactly what I need out of them,
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the cool appeal of autos is that it's like trading cards or whatever. You just pop a pack of seeds and you hope you get really lucky on a few phenos and stuff like that. But then you pop some more and you do it over and over again. So I think that's kind of appealing to some people.
It's about the genetics too, though. A lot of autoflower breeders, have bred them into like the 3rd and 4th generation, where you can pop a pack of seeds and get a uniform group of plants. You know what I mean? Like, so it's really about the genetics too, man. They've come a long way. So, definitely, if you've never tried them, just grab a pack, grow them. They fit right into your garden and exactly what you're doing. They're gonna grow right along with everything else you got going on.
Chef, I have 2 questions. So I saw somebody in the chat a minute ago say that we need to get our hands on some of your seeds. Are you making seeds now?
So we just recently started our own seed store, our own seed label, ChefAnna White Label. We started that as a way to bring autoflower seeds to people, quality seeds. I stocked, my favorite breeders of genetics that I know are really good. And I just recently started, dabbling into my own crossing genetics, some of my favorite things. So yeah, we do have a site. We'll get connected. I'll get you guys some stuff. We'll get you guys each some stuff so you guys can try, some of the things that I've grown in my own garden. But in the meantime, you can check it out, ChefAnnaWhiteLabel.com. We carry some of the best autoflowering genetics available, and we'll continue to add to that. We're a new store, but we're growing. We'll continue to add to that. So it's been really exciting.
I know you run some Mephisto and some Night Owl seeds sometimes. What's your experience with those guys? That seems to be the auto breeder everybody talks about.
I personally think they got the best autoflowering genetics out of everything that I've grown. I don't want to go ahead and list everything and, stack them up against, different brands and whatnot, but the best, like from the very beginning, they were one of the very first breeders genetics that I've grown. And just in terms of like the quality, just in terms of the structure of the plants, like what I look for in terms of an easy grow, you know what I mean? Like something that's really a foolproof grow. Just the genetics are really, really solid. So I think they're some of the best in terms of autoflowering genetics.
Chef, I'm looking at it right now, and I'm looking at the Toothless Panama Chef 1 beta. And not only is it cool, you have some of the dopest fucking slaps that come with that shit, man. I love your design.
I appreciate that, man. Shout out to my homie Charles, C-Boy Creations. You know, that's just a part of, you know, we got like a market in mind too. Just on the other side of the whole ChefAnna thing, you know, I worked in advertising and marketing sales for almost a decade. So I know with a lot of those things, you also have to be able to market them as well. So, you know, we like to come up with cool designs, cool, you know, tie them in, pay respect, pay homage to the genetics. So like that pink teddy design that you see on some of our limited collection, that's a Three Bears OG cross with a Heisenberg Special. Those are two Mephisto genetic strains. Heisenberg Special being one of my favorite ever autoflowering strains from Mephisto Genetics. They kind of get that Heisenberg theme from the show Breaking Bad. So that pink teddy icon that you see, just an Easter egg. There was an episode of Breaking Bad where a plane exploded and the pink teddy bear, the pink stuffed animal, fell out the sky and into the pool. And that's where we kind of took that from. We called that one Pink Teddy, you know, just to pay some homage, you know, do kind of creative things. And, you know, I think it's something that the people like, just something cool to kind of throw in there. So I thought that was pretty sweet.
Dude, you having a marketing background or advertising makes so much sense, because I've talked to people about how good some of the, like, not branding things you do, but like it gets people's attention, you know what I mean? And I think it's cool that you've been able to translate that into like educating people about this other kind of plant rather than making fucking stupid weed videos where you're smoking and shit. I think it's like a very cool way to do it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Just always try to do something fun, you know, something to kind of, like you said, bring light, shed light on what I do to show people that they can grow their own, save money, because it changed my life. Once I started growing my own weed, autoflower specifically, it literally changed my life. I started saving money immediately, you know what I mean? Like, and that kind of from there just kind of started opening other avenues and changed my life. And I say to everybody, you can do it as well. It's not even exactly what I'm doing, but just once you start growing your own and you're not spending that money, putting that money outside of your household, you can start doing other things, you know what I mean? Like taking stress out of your life at the very least. So yeah, it is sweet. And then, like you said, I always try to do stuff to catch people's eye. That's what you got to do. If this is what you're trying to do, if you're trying to build something, trying to build a brand, you got to look where nobody's looking, do things that you think about, something that would catch your eye, and go with that. As soon as you got it, execute it, go with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, actually make it happen, put it out there and just see what happens. Let the people decide, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's kind of, you know, kind of where all of that comes from, just the marketing background and trying to, you know, be creative.
I was gonna say the skits where you're in Walmart with people, like, I literally die. Like, the funniest stuff I've ever seen.
I appreciate that. That kind of really is just my personality. Like, I've been doing that kind of stuff, not specifically with weed, but just all my life, being out in public, messing with people at random, kind of embarrassing my friends. My wife says it all the time. Like, even before the ChefAnna thing, I embarrass her in public, like just saying random things to people just to see how people react. Like, that's really like the thing about life that really, I'll be candid with y'all, keeps me going, is just other people's reactions, just seeing, you know what I'm saying, interacting with people. Like, we go through life in this day and age, you know what I'm saying, not ever interacting with the people around us. You know what I mean? And like, so just kind of doing that and being able to capture it with my camera now, like, I think people really like that. You get to see this point of view where you come across people in all different walks of life, you know what I mean? All different spectrums of life. And, you know, cannabis, you kind of see how it ties them all together. Like, at the end of the day, everybody want to kind of come together and smoke weed. So I always like kind of going out, whether it's taking a plant in public to see people's reaction or at giving away weed, you know, in public. Just things that I know, if that shit had happened to me back when I didn't have shit, or back when I was paying for weed and had to drop $80, $100, $200, $300 for an ounce. If somebody just came up to me and just gave me a jar of some good ass weed, that would have made my fucking day. So, you know, it's just a dope thing to kind of capture, and it kind of took off, you know, being able to record that and, you know, show people that side of my personality.
Man, I remember sharing those videos with people and being like, this is a bold motherfucker, dude, taking jars into Walmart, taking plants into work and all this stuff. And I was like, how cool. I wish I could, you know, do that.
I appreciate that, but think about it. How bold is it actually? Is it bold just because it's weed? You know what I'm saying? Like, so if I walked in there and gave candy away, would that be bold? You know what I mean? Like, weed shouldn't really even be a thing that's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I guess I feel what you're saying. I know what you
love
mean,
it,
but
dude.
that's kind of how I
yeah.
look at it. That's kind of how I look at it. It should be regular. Like, you know, in Michigan, it's not illegal to gift weed under a certain amount. So what I'm doing is technically not illegal. I know I'm out in public and there may be some gray area there, but hey, I'm not doing anything wrong. Everybody's happy. I'm not disturbing, you know, I'm not disturbing the peace. So I think it's pretty sweet.
And it's super entertaining.
I saw this one with a grandma, and I just was like, "Oh, this guy's the shit." Like, I think she said something about how it like looked like her grandsons or something like that, or smelled like her grandsons, and I just was like, "Oh, this grandma is just the best, and this guy's the best." And so,
Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones, man. I like those. I try to find, the older people specifically, just because I know they grew up in a world where it was demonized almost. Like, you know what I mean? If you go back to some of the propaganda about cannabis and the reefer madness and whatnot, like they still, like, when I come across older people, they like, it's almost like I put a gun out. You know what I'm saying? And so it's kind of cool to kind of see some of them loosen up and kind of see like, okay, yeah, times are kind of changing. I can kind of take it home and smoke it, and I kind of try to reassure them and. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's some of my favorite ones.
I mean, how good of a plug can a 72-year-old really have that comes from a factory background or something? You know what I'm saying? Like, you drop a bomb on them, like, damn, that shit changed my world.
Yeah, no, that's real shit too. Like, a lot of them aren't gonna ever have that opportunity, like where they can even come across it in an environment that's not, I mean, we in public, you know what I mean? So that's as safe as you can really get. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, exactly. Like, I think you're 100% correct.
Man, what if at the same time, you're giving them good weed for the first time, and their weed that they thought was good, it's just that ain't good no more. Now what?
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not the best grower in the world or nothing like that. I've been growing for 4 years. I feel like I grow good weed, good quality weed. I would roll it up and smoke it with anybody. I'm confident in it. So some of them might have smoked better, but like the thing is, it's good weed, and you get a little something at least. You didn't have to pay for it. Somebody gave it to you. It's good weed, so you get to enjoy it. You know what I'm saying?
I love when you post videos of you like flushing with beer and shit like that to fuck with people.
Yeah, man, that's just because people are so critical these days. Like, people are just hyper critical, and don't let all of us do the things that we want to do, no matter what it is, whatever our grow methods are. So I'll do little things like that. Just take close ups of, plants that have already been harvested, but and then zoom out on later videos that people may or may not see. But just to see, man, people just, at least when you kind of got, 40, 50,000, whatever, followers, people just get kind of hypercritical of you. And that's something different that I've never experienced before. So my only way, just my entire life to, kind of cope with that kind of, what do you call it? Stimulation, I guess I would say, or engagement, is to troll it. You know what I mean? Like, that's really the only way to kind of stay normal and feel like,
Yeah.
okay, I can do what I'm doing,
Yeah,
I
but
can
at the same
respect
time,
that.
it's like your garden, your gear, your grow. You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't really be that big of a deal, man. That's what you do,
Well, I think
Fuck.
it's one of those things in this industry, it's hard to like share information because everybody like knows their shit already. You know what I mean? So if you say something that's like a little bit different than what anybody knows is right, then you're a fucking idiot and people will jump all over it. And it's like the shit that we know about the plant changes all the time. Like, most of the shit that I've learned about BHO was from like a fucking high school dropout. So like, it's stupid for me to think that I might be wrong about some of the information that I have, and to not like at least engage with people that have different opinions than you. I think is kind of difficult, but it's also, you have to be a really strong person to say, this is what I think is right, because you get jumped on for everything. Even in the comments right now, people saying autos suck. Like, okay, that's your opinion. You know what I mean? Like, I'm glad you took the 15 seconds to type that out, but it doesn't contribute to anything.
But then at the same time, that's cool. Like, we all got our opinions. I think a lot of shit sucks. You know what I'm saying? If this was about something different, I might be typing that suck. You know what I mean? Like, so that's okay. You know what I mean? But like, we just live in a world where people get to broadcast their opinion. So you gotta, you see it and you just whatever. Like, you gotta be either able to kind of just troll it or not care. You know what I mean? And just kind of do your thing, man. Like, that same person, if I walked up as a stranger at a party, rolled up something that I grew, Tooth Grizzly, for instance, autoflower and cannabis, rolled this up in a backwood and whatever they smoke, we would talk, we would laugh. You know what I mean? you wouldn't think twice of it. You wouldn't even, is this oh, wait a minute, something seems a little different. This seems like it was grown under 24 hours of light. Like you wouldn't even know the difference. You know what I mean? And we would have a good time. So it is what it is. Like I don't let any of that bother me. Like grow whatever you want to grow. I mean, shout out to all the auto growers. It's dope that I can kind of take on some of the brunt of that and show people like, no, they don't suck. Like you can grow auto. Sorry for the people coming on your page. That's crazy to me. Like I said, I'm new to the whole growth thing. I only been growing for a year. So I was really surprised to see that it had that kind of, connotation to it. I think it's a dope weed, especially, it's all about your goals, all about your situation.
Yeah, and I think it's something that we acknowledge when we get in front of cameras is that you have to understand that people are going to say stuff, positive and negative both. So you just got to kind of filter out the stuff you don't want to see or whatever. That's just part of the deal.
Now, do they suck, or does your situation suck that you're growing in for them? Because I find autos to be very situation specific, because they don't work for me because I'm an experienced grower and I have legacy clones. But say for outside, they might work though. I mean, they have a purpose. That's all I'm saying. Like, don't say they suck. They might just not work for you because you might have better logistics or whatever.
Or you probably were growing autos 30 years ago when the genetics weren't as good as they are now. Abolish farms. Like, you know what I'm saying? Get you, if you were to grow some Mephisto genetics auto, some white label, any of the stuff I carry right now in your same situation where you said, you didn't necessarily have the best experience with them indoors, they would grow great. Cause I know the genetics are great. I'm that confident in it. And, if you got, experience growing, they would grow great indoor or outdoor for you. Like you said, it's situation specific. You know what I mean? Like if you got good genetics, if you got good skills, good environment, they're gonna grow just like anything else you would grow in there, indoor, outdoor. So like you said, it's not that they suck. Some just like it's photo periods that suck. It's trash photo growers out here that can grow some boo photos, right? Am I wrong about that? You know what I'm saying? So somebody can come and have a bad experience with somebody like that and say photos suck just as easy. You know what I mean? Like it's really all about, like you said, your situation, how you growing them and whatnot. And it's a lot of factors that are involved. Just like
I could spend $500 on a pack of seeds, and it doesn't mean that I can do them justice. Is all that means. Okay, everybody say hype, whatever. No, maybe I'm just a shitbag grower and I'm lazy. Maybe that's what it is.
I like to say
it's a lot of those out there. It's a lot of those out there.
You got years of practice growing your photo periods exactly the way you do. So when you run autos 2 times and they don't run as good, that's to be expected. You don't have all that practice.
For me, man, the autos is just it's like Abolish says, it's situational. For me, man, I've been growing for a little while. I've got grow equipment that kind of builds up, and you know what? I had a tent that I threw up that I wasn't using, and I decided to make that my mother tent, and I had more room than I needed, and I had an extra light, and I threw some autos on the other side, and now I've got a mother tent holding my genetics, and I'm pulling flower out of my mother tent that normally I wouldn't be able to pull anything out of. It would just be a mother tent because it would have the light cycle. So now I'm getting flower out of my mother tent. So I mean, in that situation, even growing photos, there's still a reason to grow autos. And then of course outdoors, that's a no-brainer for me because I live in a neighborhood. I got houses behind me and around me, and I think it'd be better if I had an auto flower because it'd be shorter, and hopefully they're not gonna notice it, and I'll be able to get away with getting a couple to harvest.
I think that's a good idea, especially if you veg it for most of the time indoors and then just throw it outside, so it's outdoors even less time.
Yeah, that's what I was figuring. I'll just use that same mother tent that I've got right now. I'll just clear it out, and I'll just keep throwing autos in there and growing them out. Once they get big enough, or I feel big enough, I'll just take them outside and set them outside, and just keep spacing them out a couple weeks apart, maybe 2-3 weeks apart, and just keep setting them outside, taking them down when they're done, and then replace it with another one for as long as I can get away with it.
Yeah, that sounds like the move, getting a nice rotation going, and that's kind of what I want to do. But like I said, it'll be my first time trying outdoors, so we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna, have a couple in a rotation, planting, every couple weeks, or sowing seeds every couple weeks, and I'm excited to get them outdoors, just kind of see, the difference between indoor and outdoor, and kind of get to learning that side of the growing shit.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting some out in my outdoor this year. Whether or not I start them inside, I'm sure I'll start them inside or something, but I might just try to start a couple out in the garden. We'll see what happens. see how everything else comes up. But I have a feeling that we're going to have an early start to our spring. Looking forward to it.
I am too. I don't want to buy propane again.
Oh, dude, I hope you don't have to be honest, man. I really hope you don't have to. Tell you what, yeah, heat's been kicking my ass too.
So we had a question off of Discord. I believe it was from Dro. Dro's in the chat, Dro Gross. He said, can I use water that has gone through a water softener that has potassium chloride instead of sodium chloride? And we had a couple opinions on this. We talked about it a little bit in the pre-show.
Yes, you can. So water softeners are ion exchange. Your water is hard because it has too much calcium or magnesium. So it exchanges that for sodium or potassium. So just know that whatever water is coming out of your softener either has extra sodium or extra potassium. And by extra, it's whatever the amount of the calcium or magnesium that made your water hard in the first place.
But for an easy solve for that, or what I would do is I would just tee off that water line right before your water softener and take that extra line and put some sort of filtration system there, you know, and just filter the water straight from your source, and then use that water to water your plants.
That's what I did before when I had this situation. But from what Kate's saying, it sounds like a good ideal situation if you're like lacking magnesium or something, or potassium. You could just use that water and get that benefit.
You could also filter it afterwards instead of teeing off in front of the line. One of the things I had read on it said that you can put it through an RO filter if you notice that your plants are getting too much potassium after you use the softened water.
I was just kind of thinking more on the saving the money on how much water you're running through that softener, because that's where your cost is going to come from, unless you're on city water, I guess. But you probably wouldn't have a softener on city water.
Yeah, that's true. That's another consideration to have.
If you're running RO, it shouldn't matter either way.
Yeah, I run RO, but simply because I run dry powder nutrients and I just don't really trust the minerals in my well. So I want to start from scratch and manufacturer's recommendations. So I start with 0. But otherwise, I don't know, I could see being like a soil grower or something and filtering your water. In fact, my outdoor garden, I just use like a Boogie Blue filter. And when I'm on my well, I'm just going to do the same and just run a Boogie Blue filter off of it. So.
And what is a Boogie Blue filter?
Oh, that's just an inline carbon filter. It's something you can hook up to your hose faucet if you want to. You could probably hook it up to your wash tub if you have that type of a spigot faucet in your wash tub. But typically it's like an outdoor use to kind of filter your hose water if you want to. If you want to use another type of a carbon and sediment filter indoor, I'd suggest like a small boy. I think it's hydrologic. But yeah, that's small boy has always done me really well. You can replace the filters incredibly easily. And if the wrench breaks, you could probably source a new wrench pretty easily or toss 2 or 3 wrenches together. Sometimes those things can stick. So that's why I suggest that. But yeah.
Yeah, those little inline filters are pretty sweet. I like those. You just screw your hose into. Those are pretty nice.
There's a couple different quality ones. I think there's a white one and there's a blue one, both by Boogie Blue. I'm not sure what the blue one does, but I know that the white one's your basic carbon filter, and don't quote me, but I think that it says something like 15,000 gallons on the side of it, something like that. But yeah, pumps a lot of water. It might even have been more than that. So look it up for yourself just to get those details. But yeah, man, Boogie Blue's great, especially since we're getting into that season. So little thing that I did not do with my Boogie Blue was take another piece of hose and attach it to keep it wet on the inside. You want to keep it wet on the inside. If it dries out, I threw mine away. I don't want to risk it. There's no way of telling, I don't, without doing like a water analysis or something, which I'm not really going to do for my backyard garden right now. So I'm just going to go and spend the $20, $25, $30 and get a new Boogie Blue filter. And next year I'll make sure that I hose wrap it up, you know. Yeah, I try to filter my water because I'm running microbes, right? So I don't want to kill all my microbes with all the chlorine and chloride, fluoride, and all that stuff coming out of my city water. And, you know, if I'm off of a well, who knows what kind of minerals there are. If it's a dry season and you're at the bottom of your well, well, you might be pulling up a ton of, I don't know, iron and all kinds of stuff. So calcium and magnesium.
Yeah. Dave is asking if that filter is carbon filter only or full RO.
The Boogie Blue is not RO. Are you talking about the small boy?
Yeah,
the small boy is sediment and carbon only. Reasonably cheap. I want to say they're like $80 or something like that. And they are replaceable sediment and replaceable carbon filters. I have no idea what the volume is that those will accept, but they run for a really long time without getting nasty. The housings are clear. If you could spray paint them, something, I don't know. If you have them where it's, you know, like getting light on them outside. I had mine outside. That's why I say this. Just loaded with algae. But, you know, I think I use a Hydrologic RO filter. I think it's Hydrologic RO 1000 or something like that. And I actually have a pre-filter before my RO filter on my well. Just a heads up. And my pre-filter gets really nasty. But it helps save those RO membranes. That's the expensive part. Oh, you know, not to monologue too long, but I have a great suggestion for the tall boy. I think the tall boy is the RO version of the small boy, but you can get, man, I might have to look this up real quick, but you can basically take the RO filter 200 and turn it into a 400 by just using the different membranes. So I'll try to get better data on that and let you guys know about what that is. But I went in there talking about these 200 membranes to my grow store, and he's like, here, just throw these 400 membranes in there and it'll speed up your water flow for you. So, and that's the difference between the two ones is water flow. You know how long it can take to fill RO. Sorry for rambling, guys. Go ahead.
No problem, bro.
I'm gonna look that up though.
Something else that I believe Skilbo had brought up as a topic that he wanted to talk about in this live stream was, as a question for the viewers and for the panel, how do you decide who's worth listening to and learning from in the cannabis community? What makes them credible? What do you look for? That sort of thing.
Me, results, you know what I'm saying, like things that I can actually see, that have worked with my own eyes, you know, stuff like that. It's not necessarily about, you know, I don't know, you know, I just, whatever, it really just catches my eye, catches my attention in terms of, you know, different techniques, different methods, outside of the box methods and things like that. That's kind of what I look for, things that I can tell that person kind of came up with based off logic, based off of their own problem solving. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. And then, of course, you got the tried and true, you know, sources and resources and whatnot. But yeah, I would say that's kind of what I look out for.
Yeah, I think my answer is pretty much the same thing. You know, I kind of approach each situation like, you know what, I might learn something from anybody. So I'll sit there and listen, or at least listen to what they have to say. And just like what ChefAnna said, you know, look at the results. If they're end product, you know, if you're lucky enough to smoke it, maybe, you know, you're like, are you impressed? Are you not impressed? You know what I mean? And then with that judgment, you're like, okay, maybe I should listen to what this person has to say, or maybe I shouldn't. So I think really that's the only way, is like, is the end product good or is it not good? Because that's really ultimately what we're striving to do. We're looking for the best quality usually. So find the person who you look up to, find the people that, you know, are doing what you wish you could do. And those are the people I'm looking at. I'm trying to surround myself with people that are better than me, like I've done here on this panel. Everybody around me is better than me in one thing or in many things. And that just improves me because of those connections. So that's kind of how I approach that.
There's many ways to get to the end. We all know that. So I would suggest two things when you're looking for people to learn from is your end game goal and your values as a grower or as just a human being. Like, because there's plenty of people out there. If your in-game goal is to be like a commercial grower and stuff like that, people like GML are great to learn from. But if you want to do like regenerative, you want to make sure you leave like no imprint on the earth, and you want to leave the earth better than you found it, he wouldn't be exactly the right person to follow. So there's lots of ways to get there. That's all I'm saying. Like don't discredit anybody, but look at yourself before you start following somebody, because it might not be the right route for you.
Yeah, even if they come on a show with a really ugly U of M shirt on, you still can't judge them for that.
It can be all right.
I think that oh, go ahead, Skilbo.
No, go ahead instead.
Oh, okay. You won't remember your thing, but neither will I. I think that I look for people that are like humble in a certain way. You know what I mean? Like if they're like, I'm the shit at this, or I'm the best, to me that means they've like stopped trying to learn new things. So like I said earlier, like if you get stuck in that same old cycle of knowledge, like it's like the bro science shit, you know what I mean? You hear stuff and you're like, the fuck did you learn that? So I think the people that have like closed themselves off to learning new things, I don't really want to learn from them because it's old tech, you know what I mean? But the people that are like humble and say, like Spartan is a fucking excellent grower, and to say that he's surrounded himself by people that are better than him at stuff, like, neat, dude. Those are the people that I want to listen to.
Okay, so as an avid YouTube watcher for years on this, and I've read a lot of books, and I've tried to grow a lot of different plants, I have listened to hundreds of people. Some of them have put me exactly where I'm at, and some of them kept me back. And it wasn't that they were wrong. It was they knew what they were doing in their specific instance with what they were growing in their environment. And there's just way too many variables as like a rookie grower back, 7-8 years ago to be able to sort that out. You just kind of went with it and said, okay, fuck it, I'm going to try this. But there's also sometimes when you've got a teacher, like you're trying to watch one video and this person just annoys the shit out of you. Like out there, somebody listening is like annoyed the fuck out of Skilbo right now. Like, shut the fuck up, dude. I came to watch and listen to everybody else, not your ass. So be cognizant. Look at it. I got everybody's laughing a little bit on that. Okay, that's good. See, that's what I'm here for, is to make people laugh. Just try it. Fuck it. These are plants. It's a commitment of what, a few months? Try it. If it works for you, cool. We learned something. If it didn't, then you learn something too. You learn that didn't work in this instance. Not that it won't work, not that it isn't right, just that you and it aren't ready for each other. So let's just keep on grinding and keep doing what we can do. And at the same time, last but not least, please don't just read old shit. Don't say I'm not going to pick on any old books or anything like that, but don't say I've been doing it like this for 20 years. Because as an old dog trainer, there's an old analogy I used to use to teach classes. These two women were arguing back and forth at this thing. This one lady stands up and says, well, I've been doing it like this for 20 years. And this other lady said, shut the fuck up and sit down. You've been doing it wrong for 20 of them. Let's learn what the right way is. So, you know what I mean? Be more courteous to it than that. But at the same time, there are things that we are learning every single month about this plant that's coming along, because there finally is funding, because there is normalization of this plant. We just have to be patient and realize that we don't see the whole picture yet, but we're getting there. And to follow myself, it's also a Kate thing too. If you can't explain it simply, you know what I mean? Like, you may know what the fuck you're talking about, but if you can't break it down to a 5th grade level for me, then it might not be the right message. We might have to figure out how to craft a new one for me, or I may have to learn a couple other things along the way before I get there, but there's a disconnect.
Yeah, it's something like I always say is, if I ask you why you do something and you don't have an answer, it means you don't have a reason. You're just doing it because someone told you to do that, and you haven't like learned the reason. So I have a lot less respect if you're just parroting what someone told you to do, rather than if you've actually looked that up and found out why it works. So I think that's really important.
Every time I learn how to do something new, I feel like my 4-year-old, because I'm like, why? Because that's key. Like, why do you do that? Because it affects everything else. And finding people that will answer those obnoxious why questions for you in a way that you understand is fucking gold.
One of my favorite things is to like the show before us we get on and there's people that are like doctorates in botany and things like that. And they explain something to me that's super complex that just in a long roundabout way says, yeah, what you've been doing is the right thing. I love that stuff. It's like, great, man. You guys went to school for all that, but I've been doing that forever. I love those kind of aha moments. And I wanted to shout out, I saw Malik Spider just dropped in chat. I wanted to shout out Malik Spider. If anybody remembers, Subcool, Malik's been doing a couple of shows, live streams, and highlights of a lot of Sub's old stuff. So I just wanted to shout him out in the chat. It looks like I've got low latency, so I'll shut up.
You sounded good though, so props to you on that.
The message was right.
I'm with Skilbo. I've watched a ton of YouTube content over the years. I've been frequent on it. I don't know, maybe as long as YouTube's been around and cannabis videos have really been on it. I've been watching them, and nowadays I really look for, I like to see people that are like kind of showing results, and maybe other people have, been able to test those results or something. But results are great in person if I can, but I'd like to see professionalism now. But don't get me wrong. I mean, in the beginning, I've seen it used to really pay attention to guys just wearing nothing but green spandex suits, So, I mean, really, it's all who's had like good information and just soak it in like a sponge and then try to apply it into my own situation, how it can work for me, and then try to take all these different methods and then start to weed out the bad methods. Eventually, you start to hear this stuff from a lot of people, and we all say it, that it's all environmentally situational, and every growing style is personal, and it's all like this art and the art of cannabis and what it is. So, and it took me 10, 15, 20 years to kind of learn that. But in the beginning, I just would take in every little bit of information I could from almost anybody. And then over the years, you kind of learn to rule out the BS because of trial and error and personal experience. And I love it. I love just like the conversation as a whole of what you guys are kind of getting into. And yeah, there's so much different personalities that go into content creation or just like information, because getting the information out there to everybody, it opens up the market. It opens up people to wanting to grow their own. And I always get that question where it's like, well, if everybody grows their own, then how will there be a market for it? Well, it's like, if everybody grows their own, not everybody is always going to provide for themselves. They might still want to go out and purchase some. They're just going to respect the craft more, and it's going to open up the market more for everybody, in my opinion. So a lot of people are going to fail at growing, but then at that point, they're probably gonna be like, I'm not going to grow anymore, but I really appreciate growing, so I'm going to go out for craft quality, and that's, it's a bigger picture, so cheers everybody, and kudos to all the content creators for sure.
Yeah, I think the amount of people that are going to take it on and be able to successfully grow for an amount of time is a very low amount of people. Like, I know a lot of people that have tried and failed at growing over the years, and I haven't grown for that long already. So I really think that it would be nice if everyone has the ability to grow. And I think that's what you're getting at. But I definitely don't think that everyone has the ability to do so, or even the means, like the property or the space or whatever.
Right. Well, we'd be remiss too if we didn't point out the fact that we have people that are Michigan YouTube cannabis creators, and two great ones that I have listened to for years are MedGrower One and For Growly, and those dudes are always dropping it down, man. If you haven't listened yet, go back, check out the old podcast that we've done.
Fergoli's back. Fergoli's back. Shout out to Fergoli. He just released his first video
this week.
I'm just glad the information is a lot better nowadays. Because think about, like, I'd say even 5-6 years ago, like, just the stuff that people were telling us to do and whatnot, like how different it is now. It's wild. All the products that were like safe and would knock out every single bug that ended up having some kind of weird dewormer or some shit in it that we can't use now. All that stuff, like, it was wild over the last few years, or whatever, the last decade here on YouTube.
And that's every decade. Every decade does that, bro, because science is one of those things. It's about finding out new information on shit and studying it further, diving deeper on something, you know. So we just have to realize that the things that we hold as truths today about this plant and how to do it, realize that things are being done and new research is happening and things are changing, and it's going to affect the way that we approach growing.
Yeah, and like I said about results, you know, Fagroli is a great example about, like, you know, somebody who produces content you could be able to follow that, you know, produces good results because there's reviews, right? I mean, how many people on our panel can just right now give a review of you know, what he does is premium, and he's probably giving correct information if he's putting out product that's premium like that. So that's definitely something I'd recommend.
Well,
is
that's
him.
yeah, that's a good lesson there is branding. I mean, if that's something that you're looking into, you want to get into the cannabis scene commercially, or you want to make a name in some way, branding is what a lot of people are forgetting about. But you know, having a presence on YouTube, having a presence on Instagram, or all these social medias, you know, you create a following, because you don't get in this industry, we're not really allowed to advertise. So that's really the only way around it. You know, just build a brand, and that's how you succeed.
And now
Like
we've
that. I
circled
mean,
right back to Chef Anna again.
Yeah, there
They
you
were
go.
right back to the beginning, and we say, okay, look, one of the things that I noticed first is that's a sweet presentation on there. I like that. I like the background. He's got a really good sound. I like this dude. I want to listen to what he's got to say. This is
I
how it
want
works.
those sunglasses.
I know those are dope, aren't they?
I appreciate it. Shout out to Snapchat. These are the glasses that I wear when I'm out there capturing that content. I'm not sure if y'all knew that or not. I got a little button right here. I hit the button. I don't know if y'all can see the light moving, but
Oh,
that means I'm
okay.
recording. Yeah. So
We were just wondering that, like yesterday. We were talking about how you recorded.
Yep. So I like to wear these really just in everyday life too, because now, man, just the way life is. Imagine if I had these kind of cameras on my eyes back in high school when crazy shit was going on, like not even in school, but out in public. Just the crazy. Think about the crazy scenarios and things you've come across in life. Imagine being able to have recorded that and captured that and show people. You know what I mean? So these glasses are definitely just kind of some next level futuristic type of shit, a way of capturing content. It's even dope to be able to bring that into the grow room and be able to show my audience, okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm trimming, I'm planting, and they see it from my eyes, my hands, the scissors, you know, all of that stuff. It's really just bringing you know, growing a whole different point of view, a whole different perspective to it that I thought was pretty creative. And that kind of ties into branding. You know, I haven't really seen anybody kind of take it from that angle. So looking where nobody's looking, going where nobody's going, and kind of creating content that way. That would be, you know, my motto and what we do.
Those
I
are
miss
cool
your
glasses.
like ski goggles though. That was the shit.
Yeah, I still wear those from time to time. Like the funny thing about those is they actually are incredible in terms of protecting your eyes in the grow room. That's what people don't understand. A lot of people thought it was like a gimmick. Like I don't really do gimmicks like that. I was wearing them for a reason. And you know, cool. Like it might have been, you know, iconic or whatever. People recognize me for it. But yeah, like when I'm still in the grow room, like I'll still throw those on just because I know like the, you know, degradation of your you know, eyes and shit. That shit is real. Your ears, like I listen to loud music and I can tell over time like your ears don't be the same. Your eye, that shit is real. So being in the grow room, you really want to protect your eyes, to be honest. So I think those are amazing accessories to do that. So shout out to the goggles, shout out to the Auto Wave.
I remember reading it, and I don't remember what book it was, but I remember reading it in an old grow Bible. Something about that was the tip, was to get those glasses, and it was better than, you know, anything else for your eyes under those HPS lamps.
Yeah, because they cover the whole shit. Like glasses, like you still, like when you lean down, like those angle, like light is hitting your fucking eyes, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you know, cool. Like, I mean, them shits be powerful at least, you know, in my grow room and whatnot, and then y'all's too. So like, you know, that's the reason why I wear those. But you know, eye protection is definitely important.
Yeah, the Method 7s that I wear at work, we get the ones that wrap around the eyes, just like you're saying, because they stick out like that, then everything from the side starts blinding you just as bad.
Yeah, absolutely. What you got on the screen? I didn't know what happened real quick. You know how
Yeah.
like customer service take over your computer and shit? Like I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
So I'm sharing some of the pictures from the the 2020 Great Lakes grow off that we're doing for the show. These are some of the entrants. So right now we got Smiley Garden right here. Almost all of the pictures, you'll see that the easy swap pots are doing better than the other plants we've noticed as they've been growing.
That's
Which is
not
really
fair.
cool.
Smiley's got special.
Like, look at these.
Wait, you're just gonna skip over that Smiley had those power crystals in there? Come on.
Right.
Come on, he had those power
See.
crystals. He's cheating over there.
Cheating.
Those easy
Power
swap pots are the
crystals.
best. You can
How dare you,
basically replace your solo cups.
That shit looks real familiar, Abolished.
Yeah, who's doing those? They're killing it.
They're killing it, he says.
You can be ready to clone in no time.
Yo, this setup is fire. Shout out to all of the girls you sharing. Are these photos?
We got
Are these
time
photos?
lapse.
Oh,
Yeah, they're
that's awesome.
feminized photo period plants.
Man, they look exactly the same as when I'm starting my stuff from seed. That's what I'm saying. Like it's
Shout
pretty
out.
much the same shit, y'all. These shits.
What does that say, Dro? Dro Gross?
Yeah,
Fuck
shout
yeah,
out to
Dro
Dro.
and the time lapse. That's fucking sick, dude.
What's the name of that camera? What's that name of that camera that you get that
The
does
Wise Cam. Yeah, he
Wise
uses the same camera I have, so I should start doing stuff like that.
slacking?
But it's really cool to have a contest like this where we can see all of the different people's styles and how they compare, how they like to take pictures, how their plants are different, and all of that sort of thing.
No, they always make me want like a better cameraman or like to be a better photographer. Because I just never, you ever take a picture of your shit and just be like, oh, this is going to be fire. And then as soon as you take the picture, you look at the screen, you're like, damn, my shit doesn't look good at all.
Dude, I take pictures of my plants like I take pictures of my, like my wife takes pictures of the kids, kind of a thing. Like 47 pictures, and then you end up keeping 2.
Oh, you mean selfie mode?
Yeah, it's just like chick, 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 chick. Then you go into the light where you can actually see it, and you're like, okay, that one looks good. That's in focus. That's pretty much how it works for me because the damn light's shining off the phone and everything. And you can't really see.
Well, then too, you got to go through and be like, is there anything that looks like, you know what I mean? Like, do I have like one fucking ugly crispy leaf in here that's gonna get some hate? You know what I mean? Or it's gonna make me look like I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh yeah, I get the scissors and I got to trim the leaf off so I can take the picture for Instagram. So Karen doesn't bitch at me about the leaf on there with the burnt tip.
Update worthy strain.
It's not gonna be Karen. It's gonna be like Mitch smokes weed 420.
And that's the crazy thing about that, man. Like, you do end up snipping off a leaf here or there. Like, hold up, I got to retake that picture. With phones, man, I feel like phones just never really truly capture what you're looking at. The best way that I've been able to recreate it is having some sort of a backlight, like a ring light or something. I don't think I got one on my desk that I could show, but like a ring light or some sort of secondary backlight with your phone too. And then it's like, oh, okay, like your phone just need a little bit of help. You know what I mean? It's not it's not designed to be a camera. It's a phone, you know what I mean, with a camera on it. So, but people with actual cameras, I feel like get the best photos, no matter what they got going on. So that's just a little tip for me. Get a little backlight.
I know that CannaKitten knows all about the photos over there. She's awful quiet.
I pretty much agree with what he says. I mean, it's all about the light and the photographer. I mean, you can use whatever you could use a disposable if you have the good light.
If you can get down like that, you could get down like that, right?
I mean,
Its
I wouldn't
stability
use
is
a disposable
key.
anymore though.
Like a tripod helps a lot.
We've
I
noticed.
wonder, do you think
like-
a photo lab would process a disposable camera full of pictures of weed?
Today,
I've been
possibly.
there. Bought the
I don't see
t-shirt.
why not.
They do it. You
I'm
can
gonna
get it
try.
buttoned up and do special stuff, all that stuff. Man,
You
go
can
to
just
Walmart.
order them online. Shit.
It made me think of that 70s show with like the photo hut. You know what I mean?
I'm always waiting for my plant to stop like blowing in the wind for like the fan cycle to like go by. It'll like do this for like 10 seconds and then it'll like Then you got like
I'm
this
not
long
allowed
to
to
like
turn
let
off
it
the
go again.
fan.
No, you know, my hands, they shake like drugstore dice, man. So I take shitty pictures anyway. I need like a
Yeah.
gimbal or something to take a good picture.
Yeah, I
Get a
mean,
monopod.
I like
not a
sat down
so
at
I don't shut off
Meyer.
my fans, you know.
I sat down at the little photo lab at Meyer and printed out some pictures before Kushstock, I think.
Yeah. It's great watching the dude's face as he's printing it off. Like, should I say something? Are you allowed to do this?
That's pretty funny.
I'm so lazy. I would just order them online and have them delivered to my house. So I don't see myself even going into CVS, which is like a block away. But I'm that lazy. But you know.
No,
And also,
that's not even lazy. That's convenient. That's the world we
It's
live in. You
right.
can order them and get them delivered. You know what I mean? Like that's probably what I would do too. But it would be sweet to see if they would print those with the disposable, just to kind of see their reaction. You should.
I'm
do
gonna
might
go buy
make
a
a new
disposable
friend.
camera tomorrow and see.
Make a new friend.
Dude, the last time I bought blunts or blunt wraps like backwoods, the girl was like, "What are they?" And I was like, "You don't smoke weed?" And she was like, "I do." And I was like, "You don't smoke blunts?" And she like pointed at a pack of White Owls, and I was like, "Oh no!" So I pulled up the video of me rolling a blunt with the backwood and showed it to her, and she was like, "How do I find that again?" So the chick at the gas station like took my Instagram. It was super cool though. You know what I mean? Like, neat.
It's got a fan. I can hear you like, oh no, sweetie, no, not the White House.
You just changed her life, Kate. Come on, that's a fan for life.
I know, that's awesome.
White Owls was when I made the change to good cigars as well. I smoked a White Owl and was like, holy shit, it's got to be better than this.
Kate,
people do this for fun.
Dude, Kate just rolled up into this girl's life and dropped out of the sky like bird shit on her.
She seriously changed so many people's lives with that video. Like, I don't know how many comments we've gotten on it. Like, oh my God, thank you for showing us how to do it. Like, you guys didn't know how to roll before?
Dude, I stole that from Sapo. I watched him do it and I was like, so you just like fucking stuff weed in there, huh? And he was like, yeah. I was like, you just hoof it right in. Like, wait, you know, it's super fucking easy, but you can roll big, fat, nice blunts. Like the one around that tip that Sequence got me from Zoo Glass, like that thing was fucking enormous, but like they smoke great and it's super easy.
Yeah, where is that tip? You using it?
I don't know where it went. My ass probably threw it away already. It probably got dumped in the ashtray, is what I would assume. Or my cat is like knocking around my house like a toy.
It's under the sofa.
Those are equally likely possibilities.
I'm not gonna lie, I really like glass tips. I love rolling with them.
They feel good to smoke out of, yeah. They feel clean.
Smoke out of.
Nobody's gonna comment on that cougar that CannaKitten has sitting over there on her lap.
She's batting around their glass.
That's my little Savannah. He wanted some hugs for mom.
That's bigger than one of my dogs.
Shout out the cat's Instagram.
His Instagram is Loki Monster
Roar.
Rar.
RAWR.
He's a beast.
I wonder how many follows you pick up from that.
He's an African serval hybrid, so he is technically called a Savannah.
Yo, Savannah cat. I used to want one of those so bad. The big wildlife looking cat, right?
Yep.
That's
it.
Awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's what's up. Shout out to Savannah cats.
Shout out to all the Savannah cats watching everywhere.
Better run, Loki.
I thought that was some love. You know, you said that.
Hold on. I need to zoom in on that. How can I see that bigger real quick? Wait. What do I need to click?
If you click on their picture, they have the 3 little dots by their picture. Here, I can spotlight their video.
Shit.
There
Look at that. Yo, that's crazy. That's fire.
He's a big cat.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. That's a beautiful cat. Awesome. What's his or her name?
I'm sorry?
What's the name?
His name is Loki.
Loki. Okay, nice.
He is trouble.
Nice.
Very mischievous.
He's a mischievous little fucker. He's my baby. Thank you.
So, Kate, do you remember your research on edible digestion. Do you want to go over that tonight? Eyebrow move.
Did I?
Janie on the spot.
Yeah, I just rolled a stick tap blunt. But so
the original question was, how do edibles get you high? What happens to cannabis when you eat it? Right.
Yeah, so basically, there's one thing that I don't understand as much as I want to, but I don't think it'll matter. So here we go. I've been looking into this a lot too to see like what kind, because I've been getting questions about like what kind of fats are best to medicate with and stuff, you know what I mean? So basically you eat weed, it goes into your stomach. From there, you have partial absorption of it in your, oh fuck, I'm too high for this. I don't know how to explain it simply. Yeah.
Didn't you practice this in front of a mirror?
Fuck no. I've been looking it up all week while I like cook dinner for my kids and shit. So basically your liver processes it, right?
Yes.
So you have a first pass through your liver and a second pass through your liver. And that's the part that I don't fully understand yet. But your liver uptakes THC and gets it into your bloodstream. From there, it goes into your brain, right? And passes through your blood-brain barrier. So I think that that's originally why I started looking into it too, because we were talking about decarboxylating in the chat.
We were talking about lecithin. And the blood-brain barrier, remember?
Yeah, so there's so much shit that I've been looking up sequence that like, you said the initial thing is like what happens to it when you eat it. But like, I'm just having trouble thinking of like a specific place to start. Lecithin makes it more bioreadily available for you. So it makes it easier for your body to absorb it. Lecithin is an emulsifier, so it binds like things that are not fat soluble or water soluble to water a little bit. I mean, that's what emulsification is. So basically it makes it easier for it to like get more evenly distributed in your edibles and easier for your body to absorb it when you're digesting it. Once it is digested and stuff is in your body, it like binds to receptors in your brain. And I think that that's to like the getting through the brain part, or the blood-brain barrier to like be able to get you high is the importance of decarboxylating it.
After the THC passes through the liver, what hallucinogen chemical does it turn into? It actually turns into a hallucinogen once it passes through the liver.
It's like an 11-hydroxy metabolite or something like that. But I understood that lecithin a little bit differently. So the THC, this is my understanding, I could be wrong, but I always understood the THC binds to a fat. The lecithin is emulsifier, but it's emulsifier of the fat. It makes the fat kind of break down a little bit easier so that the THC that's dissolved or absorbed into the fat is already kind of pre-digested so that it kind of, you don't lose as much in the process of digestion. You get more of it, it's more efficient. And so more of that THC is delivered to the liver than if you don't have that kind of pre-broke down fat.
Yeah, that's true too. So like it improves the oral availability. So like when you eat weed, you're only getting like 10 to 20% of what you're eating. That's how much our body uptakes it. And a lot of that depends on like your metabolism. So that's like a big factor in the liver too, and a big factor in like in eating edibles. It's counterintuitive kind of like the smaller you are, the skinnier you are, the higher tolerance for edibles you have, because of the way your body processes things. And the heavier you are, the more body fat you have, your body reacts stronger to edibles and your brain reacts stronger to edibles. So basically, yeah, I just remember that I took notes on this shit because my high ass knew that I would not be able to remember it. So when your liver first pass metabolizes it, it goes into the active, it's like 11-OH-THC. So it makes
So yeah,
That's
that'd
like
be 11 hydroxy. Yep.
Yeah, the 11 hydroxy is like 4 to 5 times more psychoactive than THC on its own. So THC gets converted into delta 9 THC, and that's what we can digest into the 11 hydroxy THC. So that's kind of the like process of what happens to it.
Dr. Dankenstein asks, what rate would you use lecithin?
I would have to look. I would have to look up my recipe to tell you, but I think it was like a couple tablespoons per pound, maybe, of butter.
I use it to 2 tablespoons to 10 sticks of butter is what I use it to when I'm making butter anyway.
I say when I make like full sheet pans of like Rice Krispie treats and brownies and shit, I use like a half a teaspoon. So you don't need very much at all. And another thing, I think in a different live show, I said that there wasn't that much of because people think that soy lecithin is worse than sunflower. And I was like, I don't really think that's true. The more I've been reading into it I guess more in depth, I think that soy lecithin is more processed always. So of the two, I think I'm going to try to switch over to sunflower because it's pressed just like hemp seed oil is like cold pressed out. It's not solvent washed like soy lecithin is. So I previously said I didn't think that there was a difference. Now I have a preference. I think I'm going to start using sunflower instead.
I found that, like you said, you don't need a lot of soy lecithin or glycerin or coconut oil, whatever you use. I usually do like a 1-to-1 ratio, whether it's hash or flour, tincture of any sort, whatever rosin that I've decarboxylated. It's usually just a 1-to-1 mix.
From what I've always read or heard, the body is really more coconut oil friendly. It absorbs well into the fats of the coconut oil, and your body loves the fats in the coconut oil. So it's a great transfer agent as far as making edibles go, as far as my knowledge.
Medically, if you were going to be treating a patient, you would probably want to use coconut oil because of the MCT. But as far as for how I cook based on what I'm making. So I don't really want to put coconut oil in cookies. That's my personal preference, but I know a lot of people who cook like that. So it's just personal. So, just saying. But I've also found though, like if I use glycerin and I mix it with certain chocolates, it seizes it up. So I can't use glycerin at all. Even because soy lecithin does have like a little bit of a flavor. I wouldn't want to necessarily mix in with, say, like a cream cheese, for example. I'd want to use, a glycerin, but if it had like a chocolate and it seized up, then it would be totally worthless. So it's kind of just based on what you're cooking, I think, according to how I do it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. So it prefers like the longer chain fatty acids. So coconut oil is a good option for that, or straight MCT, because MCT is just the medium chain triglycerides from coconut oil. That's, you know what I mean? So it's a good middle range of things, and then you're not getting the like, super high saturated fat things that people are worried about. But you can also medicate your stuff much stronger to avoid having to eat a lot of it. I like heavily medicated small things because I don't like having to like choke down a whole brownie to get a little bit high.
I found that you could do layered desserts. I don't know why I did air quotes, but you could do layered desserts and put a little bit of what you want in each item. So like make a Rice Krispie and put that a little bit in there, and maybe I guess like I've done it and it didn't taste that bad, but I guess I could just be talking on my ass here. But I just think that when I've done layered desserts, the taste isn't as bad because it's not so concentrated.
Maybe
and
make some chocolate
and put the little bit of chocolate on the Rice Krispies or mix it in with the Rice Krispies and have it, just spread it out a little bit, I guess.
You get the disguise figure going on there. You're gonna break that taste up.
Right, you can do different items that aren't so potent and then combine them all at the end, kind of thing, instead of making like, here's just the medicated frosting and it's like
it's like, oh god, the frosting
makes you
is
want to
the
gag
worst.
the minute it touches your tongue, kind of thing, or whatever.
I don't know. It's stoned o'clock in the morning, man. I might get my big paw up in there and just get digging.
Yeah, there's something to be said about that too. You know, like I want it now.
Drink some
Don't
Kool-Aid.
let the use of soy lectin be off-putting either. The more you look around in your foods and start reading some ingredients, you'll find that that stuff's in everything. Chocolates, I mean, it's in everything. So as far as putting it into your edibles and using it, it's a great transfer binder, and you know, to add it into your butter or whatnot. That's why most people add it into their butter, is a good binder. It helps bind with the fats. That's about
that's
it.
the thing.
So, you know,
You don't
with or
actually have to
without your
mix it
butter,
with the
with or
butter.
without will be good.
His internet.
Pardon me?
I was just gonna say, if once you've mixed it with the lecithin, you don't have to mix it with butter. You could literally put that shit in a salad if you wanted. Like, it's already mixed. You know what I mean? So unless you're making brownies or something like that, you really don't need to. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I forgot the internet connection thing. So apologize for that. But like I just, you know, it was like a revelation to me earlier last year. Like, oh, I already mixed this shit. I don't need to put more butter in or mix, you know, figure out the butter ratio. I just do a 1-to-1 ratio, toss in what I want, and now I know what I'm dosing. So it just made it easier, I guess.
Yeah, that's
All right,
good.
so somebody, if you don't mind, somebody shoot me straight. So whenever I've done edibles, I just take, you know, some product flour, you know, put it with some butter in a crock pot, strain that out, and then use that butter in whatever we eat. So explain to me a little bit about, is it Lexington? Lexington? Is that what y'all saying? Like, is it something that I can be
Lecithin.
doing?
Yeah.
Is it something that I can be doing to more optimize my experience? Because to be honest, what is the secret to making a consistent edible? That's why I really don't mess with it. Because sometimes it be hella strong. Sometimes I need to eat the whole
100%.
cookie. You know what I'm saying? Like, so what's the help me out?
Yeah. First of all, when you get your product, are you decarboning it before you put it into the crock pot?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Shooting you straight, to be honest. So decarb, like putting it in the oven real quick at a certain temperature. Right. Yeah. We've tried that before too.
Yeah, I would do that first, then I'd put it in the crock pot with your butter, and then yeah, for sure the lecithin. When your butter's melted, you can mix your lecithin in right then at the same time. You know why that butter's nice and melted? Just mix that lecithin in. The stuff I got was a powder, but
What is that though? Like, why am I mixing that in?
What that does is it basically makes the THC bond to it emulsifies the fat. It makes the fat so that it breaks up easier, so that when you eat that fat, your bodies can absorb more of it.
It takes the process out of the liver. It
So
goes
I'm
directly into your
I'm
stream.
gonna be even more high, is what y'all saying.
Yeah, it should make
yeah. Be even more fried. Okay.
How long are you putting that in the crock pot for?
I'm gonna be 100% honest and transparent with y'all. Sometimes it'll be, you know, a couple hours. Sometimes we might just, you know, like, it's just kind of like, you know, we just try it. Sometimes we don't even really, it's been a long time since I've even done it. So we're not even really experiencing it like that. But the times that we've done it, you know, the thing about it is, like, I don't eat a whole lot of butter like that. So like, we'll end up having like a whole thing of butter, and it'll just kind of go bad over time. Like, I'm not a real butter eating, you know what I mean? Like person like that.
Well,
so.
the reason I ask is because if you do, you could do it 2 different ways. You could decarb your weed, put it in the, you know, the crock pot, or even a pan for just a little bit to mix it with the oil, or however you want to do it and strain it. It's already decarboxylated. Or you can put it in the crock pot for like 20 hours on low, and it'll decarb while, you know, you've got it cooking for like a day or something like that. You can do it both ways. The latter is like a little stinkier. It can stink up your house. So I don't know. It depends on how if you want your house to smell like weed or something like that.
I think that's what we did. I think we did like the crock pot overnight type theory. So like it went for some hours and then we strained it out. I mean, we was high, but the thing is that, you know, we usually get like an inconsistent high. Sometimes I'm super high. Sometimes you know what I mean? But then again, I do overdo it as well. So
I mean, I'm also with I don't use flour as much anymore because I'm again lazy. Like I mentioned before, rosin is super easy. Flour rosin, live rosin, whatever you want. I use pucks. I'll like make a tincture out of that or something, but you could also do it that way too.
I was just gonna say, I don't.
Oh,
go ahead.
Oh, real quick, I'm sorry. My wife just came down. She said we did it for 2 days, switching the crock pot from warm to low or something like that to make sure it didn't get too hot. So we let it go for 2 days and then we strained it out. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Shout out to AP with the pot.
Yeah, lecithin is also a surfactant, so it makes it like go throughout stuff more evenly. So like this corner of your pan of brownies will be the same as this corner of your pan of brownies. You know what I mean? And you can also, you always want to decarb before you bake butter, in my opinion, because it makes it easier to be able to tell what your dose is going to be at the end. And there's like a little formula that you can look up that I don't remember right now to figure out basically like this much wheat and this much butter. If you know the like about percentage of your weed will give you this many milligrams per this much butter. You know what I mean? And then you can know putting that into your edibles, how much is in each one. But also you can, I mostly medicate with concentrates. So like, that's super easy to figure out how much is in each dose.
You know what I feel like? I feel like we need you to get the whiteboard out right here and you just like do the virtual thing on the numbers and shit. Yeah, like so I bought this booth that's sitting at 12%.
Well, and like she's
what can
saying,
I do with
decarbing ahead of time saves you a lot of time. You don't have to have that in your house, stinking your house up for 2 days.
No, you know what my advice is, man, is like look up foods that you really like to eat. And I bet you there's some kind of a fat that's in it. You know, it's going to either be an oil like a coconut oil or a vegetable oil or a grapeseed oil or a butter.
Yeah, I mean, real shit, burgers and shit, dinner and shit. Like a lot of edibles is dessert based, you know what I mean? And like I'm more of a I don't really eat a whole lot of dessert. So like that's kind of why they don't come across my palate a lot, you know, edibles. So like that kind of thing, you know what I'm saying?
But like,
yeah, that's the bonus of making them yourself is you can put that into basically anything. All the savory foods you can think of.
Like you can do like banana bread. Most people like banana bread. You can make a big thing of banana bread. Well, you use a lot of butter when you make that. So just infuse your butter, then bake your banana bread with that butter. And
Sure, we'll have some full course meals and all that stuff come up in Kate's new cooking show.
You can mix it with drinks. I mean, if you make instead of oil in the crock pot, I would just say use a little bit of 1-to-1 ratio of like concentrate like rosin or whatever to soy lecithin, and you can just mix that in with some honey and make some like organic lemonade or something like that, or whatever kind of drink, tea. You know, he likes
that's
tea.
That's what I'm talking about. That sound like, yeah, that's the move right there. That sound like the move.
I take all of our pucks that we press for rosin and freeze them right after we press it, and then whenever I can, I'll make a tincture, make some RSO, and I'll take that RSO and mix it with some soy lecithin and make some honey. I mean, you gotta be careful though. It can get really strong if you're using like rosin bags. A lot of hash in there.
She gave me this medicated honey, and I like tea. So like a dumbass, I take a whole like teaspoon of this honey and I put it in my tea.
Mm-mm.
I took the first sip. I was like, oh, "What the fuck is this?" You know, she's like, "It's kind of strong." I was like, "Oh my god!" I had to dump the tea. I couldn't even drink it. It was so.
Wait, I gave some to Skilbo. I don't know if you ever tried it. So.
Did
you? I took his advice though, and he told me to cut it half. So it definitely works. So that's the thing is you have to realize you can do a lot of things post harvest to work with things. You're not just stuck with butter and things. I know that Miss C and Abolish, what oil do you guys work with predominantly for things?
Grapeseed.
The grapeseed oil, but we like to mix it up though, because we found even in myself that like stuff like baked goods, like CannaKitten was saying, like I don't want to use any kind of oil to make those. I want to use butter. It makes a world of difference in the taste. And that I also found that, like especially the simple syrup that we make, I can intake a lot of that. I can't say the same thing for any kind of edible that we make with the oil. I'll start feeling sick after so much.
So I like using coconut oil for personal use because I can I eat a lot of vegetables. You know, I cook up a lot of greens and just eat whatever. A lot of times I'll just get frozen vegetables too because they're easy. So I'll just toss some frozen vegetables in a pan and throw some coconut oil in the pan and bada boom, bada bing. Edible vegetables, no problem. I love it, man.
Yeah, chef, I make like medicated jerky. This is mushroom jerky. I make medicated beef jerky. Like you can medicate fucking anything. It doesn't have to be sweets.
Yeah, especially if you do grapeseed oil, like you can literally cook anything in that. Like you can make your chicken nuggets in that and make medicated.
You can baste your burger with that.
Now we talking.
Well, you could medicate the fat in your burger.
Right.
Medicated Alfredo.
Yo.
Now we talking. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to look into those. Yeah, I appreciate that. Now we talking.
You can
If
get
you
down
wanna-
and dirty cheap with a 19-cent ramen and stir that up with some can of butter and get down. I mean, you know, hey, everybody knows what the chicken tastes like.
I tell you what, man, just write this down. There's a webpage, the Magic Butter Machine.
Yes,
Go to
sir.
magicbuttermachine.com, and they have recipes. And you don't have to have their machine to make the butter, but you can use their recipes. It works just the same. And they got tons and tons and tons of recipes there free. You don't have to, pay.
Yeah.
It's a pretty awesome resource.
Both Eagle and I have one
Shout
of
out
those
to
and
my
had it for
home.
years.
Shout out to my good friend Michigan Jeff on Instagram. His account's private, so you may or may not get through. I'm sorry, but man, he just posted up some stuff about a magic butter machine. So hopefully he's watching, and shout out, man. Some pretty cool stuff. Yeah.
That's how I make my tincture. Is I do it that way. I mean, I should experiment more. I was thinking more along doing a THCA tincture rather than doing a decarb in the beginning to try to make it psychoactive. I use mine topically for the most part, so I want to retain that acid, that THCA, because it's better for inflammation and things like that. So, I mean, there's just levels and levels and levels to the shit. There's so many different rabbit holes that come off of this one thing. It's like a big warren, man. So
There are a lot of levels, Skilbo. We just had a shout out to ramen with can of butter in the chat.
Yeah, man. Somebody knows what's up. It's that
Your
poor
tincture
life.
is good. I like your tincture, Skibbo. I do get attacked by my cat, the one that you just saw. He does attack me when I put it on. So I'd like to know what you put in it so I can make some toys for him.
Shit, I have to remember.
It's got to
Oh,
be
there
like
you
the
go.
peppermint
Yeah.
or something. But yeah, your rollerball's great for my hands.
Thank you. Yeah. I gotta make new labels and shit, man. I gotta get back on my game.
I say that loud and clear. I just gave one of those to my
I don't have a
parents
label.
today. So Skilbo, one of your roller balls. So hopefully they're watching and they see how effective it is, because I'm hoping that they get a chance to try it out for themselves and see how effective it is. I'm sure they'll have the same results. Works great for me. Love those things.
I think it's a great way to introduce someone that's older, and we had talked before in the late sesh, Red and I did, about introducing cannabis to people that have had issues with like the propaganda of this is your brain, egg in the pan, this is your brain on drugs. So using a topical roller where you can reassure them, nope, you're not going to feel funny. Nope, you're not going to get the giggles. Nope, you're not going to go crush the sweets in the fridge, but you will get some relief. I mean, shit, man, that's half the battle right there, because nobody wants to live in pain. So let's try to do things that we can to minimize inflammation, which tends to be predominantly the cause of pain is inflammation. Get that under control. You know what I mean? So by changing something, using this, maybe looking into your diet and trying to eliminate some things, and you know what I mean? Try to live a little bit healthier with it.
We got a question from Dre in the chat saying, has anyone ever put Everclear in the magic butter machine?
Yes, I do.
He
The
was saying
190
they have-
proof. Yeah,
he's
no.
saying
it's
they have a
not.
recipe for it, but he's scared to heat up Everclear.
Dude, I've been doing it since 2014. So I'm still here.
Yeah,
Fans,
check out Skillball's video. He did a whole rundown on it.
I'm gonna redo that too, dude. So like after I do my harvest, I need to reshoot that, put that up, maybe put the rollerball thing up and capture that, because that'll help a lot of people.
Those things are amazing.
Baked Cone said that his rollerball worked for his friend with bad gout, so that's awesome news too.
Well, remember when Miss Spartan was talking about somebody, she had gone to see somebody and they had had an issue with some skin thing that they couldn't get under control. And she was like, they used that and like the shit went away after like a week, which is really weird. But then when you start looking into what the oils actually are, a lot of them are recommended for, things like eczema and stuff like that. There's fungal, antifungal properties, antimicrobial properties. There's a lot of shit going on there.
I haven't even told you my most recent success story with that is I had my dad. He drives a gas truck for a living, and he rolled his ankle getting out of his truck, and he was all laid up in his bed basically for 3 days, couldn't move. I brought one of those rollers over there, rolled it on his ankle, and within the next day he was up hobbling around, going out to eat, and he's back to work within a few days. Like that thing, and just that mixture right there is great for inflammation.
The key is it's not, I mean, it's not like there's some secret ass recipe to this shit. The key is when you, whatever you do to make your concentrate that you're working with. So in my instance, I'm using the highest grade alcohol that I can get my hands on. So the last one I did was with the 190. Now I'm back to using Michigan, which is like 158 tops out at. So I don't live close to Indiana to pick it up. So here we are. Anyway, I throw that shit in the machine. I run it for 8 hours. At the end of 8 hours, I let it rest overnight. Then I come back through, I fire it back up for 4 more hours. At the end of that, I strain it through a nut milk bag. Go on Amazon, buy one. They're $12. You'll thank me later. Nothing's getting through there. To give you a really nice, clean tincture at the end of it. That's more for like if you want to use it internally and stuff like that. If you're going to do that, I say that you should use it. It's called sublingually, which is a fancy term for putting it under your tongue. So you might want to take like a little tiny, like a bird swallow amount of either like your coffee or some water or something, and then take a full eyedropper full, at least one, and put it in that pocket underneath your tongue and let it sit there as long as you can. It'll burn a lot at first. If you want to be hardcore, you can do it, with nothing. But it'll burn and then it'll stop burning. Hold it as long as you can. The reason you're doing that is because it is crossing that blood-brain barrier. It's not waiting and having to go through my stomach and then be processed through my liver to be activated in my brain. So within like 15 to 20 minutes with a tincture, you can get the job rolling for yourself. And they tend to last 2.5 to 4 hours. But I'm not going to fuck around. I'm using here we go. Right there. This is what I'm using right here. This is my next run. Okay, so a fifth of this stuff, the diesel, I think Red uses that, said before. So I use that, and I'm going to use a QP. So that's 4 ounces.
Cousin to my favorite strain, sour diesel.
Yeah. Shout out to Eagle for gifting me some sour diesel seeds yesterday, my friend. I know he's not at the camera right now, but he listens to these afterwards.
I got a question on those bags because shout out to you for recommending them too. I use them to clean up our edibles. And I've been using them like after we do the crock pot, we make our mixture or whatever. Would we be able to say put all the leaf material in there beforehand and actually do the brew with it in there and then just lift that son of a bitch out instead of trying to have to dump stuff in there? Is it heat resistant?
I would think so, because you're not really going above 160. You're keeping some kind of thermometer on it. You're not running at crazy temperatures, right?
It gets to 200 sometimes.
I would think that you just have to worry about the fabric and what temperature you're heating that, what it's made out of.
Right.
So, I mean, if you're going to get a cheap bag and you don't know what the fabric is, I just would worry about what.
Yeah, they're organic, the ones that I referred to.
Can I pass on a great tip here for you guys? This works great for butter and probably what you're using it for. You can buy a jelly strainer kit. Okay, it comes in a circle about that big with 3 legs that come down that fit beautifully on a bowl or whatever, and then it comes with these bags right here, which obviously are food grade because you can make jelly with them, and this cinches in around that halo right there, so you can dump your magic butter machine in there, and this catches as you can see, this is a super fine bag. I mean, this catches everything, and you can, after the fact, after it's done dripping, pull this tight because it's a drawstring, pull it tight and put you some rubber gloves on and really squeeze the shit out of this thing. So I just wanted to pass that along while we were doing
I'm glad you did, man. I was looking at those like 2 weeks ago.
Say again what bag that is, Eagle?
This is right there.
It's a jelly kit.
A jelly strainer.
Strainer.
They're like $30 on Amazon, but well worth
Not
it.
even.
Know what I mean?
You go in the canning section at Myers or Walmart, the kit's like $9, and these replacement bags are like $2 or $3, and you get 2 bags in here.
I know.
Replacements. Yeah, but yeah, that's where I found them was Myers. $10 for the kit. Maybe it could have been like late season where they were getting rid of them, but they're usually in the canning section, Walmart or Myers, wherever.
Are you making jelly now too?
Grandma's jelly, Grandma Eagles.
Just straight up good ass wheat butter. And my method for that, I don't even fuck around. I don't have no fancy measurement for that shit on what the milligrams are going to be. I put 10 grams per stick in that magic butter machine, 2 tablespoons of soy lecithin. I let that machine go for 2 hours on the 165. I strain it out in this here bag. I do not even cut that butter. I use it full strength in whatever that recipe calls for. And I do not pass them out. I keep them right for myself and stay way medicated when I do make medibles. And another thing too, when we were talking about them, I thought what was interesting was the thought of using some kind of extracts in a simple recipe, maybe throwing a quick grandma shatter and some oil to make up a quick cake or whatever. I know I keep some 160 around for that. When I don't have any butter or don't have time to make the butter, I'll throw some 160 hash in some coconut oil and heat that up, just at temperature and make cake or whatever.
Just to buffer the solution, I throw a shit ton of hash in there too.
Yeah, I don't, whatever. I don't make a lot of edibles, but when I do, they serve a purpose.
Yeah,
I want him to kick you in the
that's
face like a mule.
Full spectrum hash, man. It's a great purpose for it. I agree.
Shout out to whoever's grandma came up with that. Love all that grandma tech out there.
I mean, that Goodwill tech or that garage sale tech, whatever you stumble upon, that MacGyver tech.
Grandma tech.
Whatever works, right?
I'm the same way typically, just because I don't know.
I believe you would call that frugal, my man.
Correct.
I think that's great. I'm just expecting jelly next time we meet. That's all.
Right?
Maybe some spicy jelly, like some pepper jelly.
You teach me a recipe and I'll bring it, bro.
I'm going to send you a Betty Crocker book. I've got your address.
He doesn't realize that you actually will. That's the problem.
I have his address. We have 9 more minutes, guys. Is there anything that you guys want to go over or anything like that?
No, but I did just say in chat that I have plans to make pepper jelly because I got those Carolina Reapers from my friend's boyfriend. So infused hot pepper jelly is coming.
My stomach's burning just thinking about it.
I did want to give some shout outs to some of the people that have supported the show in the last week. Dankman Dan, Tara Wilson, Baked Pone, Philly Grown 215, and Smiley's Garden in particular, either for being on the Patreon or donating, supporting the show. Really appreciate you guys. Then we got a bunch of new merch up for the grow off. We should probably mention that. Cool hats and shit like that. If you like merch, you can find it at mbgs.live. I'll put a link in the chat. Appreciate you guys.
Yo, I just want to say I appreciate y'all for having me on the panel tonight. I had a great time. Shout out to everybody watching. Shout out to the Auto Wave. ChefAnna with the pot on IG. If you haven't seen any of my antics or any of my grow autoflower shit, if you're interested in that, just follow me over there. My Twitch stream as well, ChefAnna with the Twitch. Check that out. Yeah, man, I had a great time. Appreciate each and every one of y'all.
Yeah, definitely check out Chef. And Chef, I appreciate you bringing your large audience to us and checking out our show. Hopefully we retain some of them for the next show, and that would be really cool. We really appreciate you joining us tonight.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate it. And anytime. Just let me know. Anytime.
And Chad, if we didn't get to your questions tonight, or there's something that you would like to know more about from us, just reach out to me or anybody here on the panel, and we'll try to get the question answered, or maybe even do a short video on it or something, good like that.
Or we'll get you into the Discord. We have a Discord where you can ask the panel questions, and that was how we got one of the questions asked and answered tonight.
I hope we didn't miss any questions tonight. Look, I thought we were looking at chat pretty well, but if we did, reach out. We didn't miss you on purpose.
Yeah, I was following most of the time, but I'm going to be honest, I'm pretty high right now, so I can't remember.
That edible kicked in, didn't it? That 150.
That was my second one today. See, I ate one at the first podcast, and I ate one at the beginning of this one, and they're both kind of catching up to me right now.
You're staggering on the ropes, my friend. It's got you in its clutches.
I'll be all right.
I'll be all right, he says. Well, I guess we can roll into final shout outs. Eagle, do you want to go first, my friend?
Sure. I'd just like to thank you guys for letting me be a part of this. I love being here every week. It's always fun. It's always great. I love these guest episodes where I could just sit back and do what I like to do and suck in that knowledge. It's great that ChefAnna dropped dropped his good info on autos. I'm not necessarily an auto grower, but I love taking the info in from everywhere. Like we talked about earlier. He may have said something that may have struck my interest. Not so much tonight. I still love my photos, but I'm not knocking his method, and I'm sure he's right. If we side by side, I'll happily smoke his auto weed and talk
100%.
cannabis with him for hours. This has been a great episode. Thanks for CannaKitten and No Till for showing up. I love these episodes where I don't even have to reach out to this damn phone and touch the mic and just take in their great knowledge, everybody's knowledge, the panels. This is always great. This is a fun time of week, and I really enjoy this. Thank you for everybody for tuning in, and thank you everybody for this whole thing, really.
Thanks, Eagle. Spartan, you are next.
I want to put a special shout out to, I'll say, Chad out there. He recently got married and he went on a honeymoon out to Jamaica. And when he came back, he brought me a hand-carved pipe from Jamaica.
Sick.
So that was pretty dope. And then he scored some weed down there, of course. And there were seeds in his weed. So now I've got the beginning of a strain that I'll be calling Jamaican Honeymoon whenever I pop it. So it'll be interesting to see what this is.
You got babies.
Yeah.
It's Spartan Grown on Instagram, by the way. CannaKitten, you are next.
Thank you to everybody on the panel for coming and sharing all of your knowledge. Even though Chef's not here, thank you to him for being here tonight. Super cool to have guests. CannaKitten and No Till guy. Super cool for you guys to come on too. Everybody watching, I appreciate you hanging in there with me while I stroked out trying to talk about edibles. You can find me on Instagram. Have a good night.
Red, what's up, man?
Oh man, it was a great night. Thank Chef for stopping in, man. It was great meeting you. Cheers, definitely, and a huge shout out to everybody over at New Standard. They are opening up their doors on March 19th. John R. and 10 Mile. So I'm definitely going to be swinging through there here and there, seeing what they have on the menu pretty much all day. I think I'm going to be popping my head in there, probably grabbing some pre-rolls. So shout out to those guys. Huge shout out, man. They're finally opening their doors and I'm really excited about it. So New Standard and Chef, rock and roll, everybody in the chat. Great chat tonight. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Cheers. Everybody on the panel too. Love you guys every week. Oh, by the way, Red Setter Farm. You can find me on Instagram. I'm so excited for everything else. Who cares? I'm Red Setter Farm. Love you guys. Later on.
Red, you're the best. Hey, Chef, where can everyone find you in your seed bank?
ChefAnnaWhiteLabel.com, the autoflower seed boutique, man. We specialize in the best autoflower and genetics available. Check us out there. Chef Anna with the pod on IG, Chef Anna with the Twitch on Twitch. Man, I appreciate y'all for having me on here. Shout out to, I didn't get a chance to see the chat. I didn't have my screen split. So shout out to everybody that came through and supported. Make sure y'all follow the channel and come check out some more episodes. I'll do the same. And again, man, thank the whole panel. I learned a lot tonight as well. I'm definitely going to try some of these edible tricks that I heard about tonight, or tips, I should say. So yeah, I appreciate y'all.
Thank you, man. MI No Till guy and CannaKitten. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you, man. It's been a pleasure as always. Thanks, Chef and Kate, for kicking knowledge tonight. I learned a few things for sure. I'm super stoned, so I'm gonna cut it short.
Yeah, I feel you.
And my
You guys-
no-till guy on Instagram.
Yeah, I was pretty good. I was pretty good before we started the show. So I'll keep it short as well. I do appreciate you guys having us on, and it was great to see all your faces, and it was nice chatting with everybody in chat. And if you want to, follow me, I'm at CannaKitten on Instagram. So
And what's your glass shout?
I'm sorry, what's that?
What's your glass page?
Oh, my glass page? It's Snow Kitten Meow. Thank you.
Skilbo is always looking out. Abolished Farms in Miss C.
Shout out the panel, of course. Love you guys. Frugal Force. And also special shout out to all the grandmas out there sharing their tech. I love you guys.
Yeah, shout out to you guys. It's great hanging out tonight. Thanks for coming on, Chef. It was great getting to meet you. And Red, I love you, Red. Always making me smile.
Always making me smile.
You can find me on Instagram at Miss Cantaloupe.
Thank you, guys. Skilbo.
Thank you to MI No-Till guy, CannaKitten, returning guest, and it was great to meet you, Chef Anna. I really enjoyed it, man. I also want to give a shout out to Bees Buds. I met him yesterday at Vehicle City. He was nice enough to share some of his product with me. And also, I want to say thanks to Eagle. He dropped a bunch of nice little sample jars on me. And I have to say, you know how he keeps beating the drum about this, his beautiful loser? We sat there yesterday and we had the gigantic, huge fucking joint, and we just got blown the fuck out. One joint between the two of us, good to go. So thank you, Skilbo1 on Instagram, Skilbo17 on here. Much love to everybody. See you next week.
Thank you, Skilbo. Once again, shout out to the chat and everyone on the panel for sharing their time with us again this week. Thank you for supporting the show. Tell a friend about the show and how much fun you had. Please subscribe if you enjoyed the show. Click the notification thing so you're here again next week. See you then.
Hell yeah.